Okay, we're recording. Hi, everyone, and I am so excited to be bringing in the very magnificent Danelle, who is my beautiful client. She's an extraordinary somatic coach. She's a healer. She's incredible. I can't sing her praises highly enough. You are just amazing. Hello and welcome.
I'm
Aw.
so happy to be here. I just love you, so I'm just so happy to be here.
Oh, it's so mutual. I want to start off by asking you, what is a somatic coach?
Good question. So, somatic means body, and how I interpret being a somatic coach is essentially using body-based tactics and techniques
Hmm.
to kind of get in to the consciousness and subconscious mind. So, how this looks is I work a lot with sensations, with emotions and sensations. So we have, our basic emotions that we can use language to define how we're feeling, sad, happy, joyful, all of the things. And then we have sensations, how our body feels when we're experiencing those emotions, or what is the body experience of having those emotions. So when we consult the body and I ask, where do you feel that joy? What does it feel like? What's your experience of it? We
Hmm.
get a whole range of like different information than we would if we were just, talking about the emotion because the body holds so much. I mean, again, that word information, like when we consult the body and I'm like, okay, how does joy feel? And it's like, it's this expansion in my heart and there's this warmth and there's also like a little bit of tightness in like my womb area, a little bit of like tension in my back, but some like openness in my pelvis. It's like, oh, interesting. Okay, like what's the tension about? Like, do you have a color to the tension? Is there a shape? Is there a size? And then we do some inquiry in that way where we start to in the body and then we kind of make our way to the surface. And it's just like fascinating what comes up every single time. I'm always like so mind blown and surprised by my clients and like what their body is saying to them versus how they could kind of logically interpret whatever their
Yeah.
circumstances. And
Mm.
to me, like going through the body and through the lens of the body is such a portal to like their deeper truths, to their power center. Like it's really amazing. And it surprises my clients like what they come up with because it's not something they've logically thought, certain sentences in their head that they've like used their mind to think about, which it's all mind, it's mind body, but like it's just a different door to walk through and it's profound, like really profound.
Yeah, I love that. And what got you into it? How did you begin on this pathway?
Yeah. Oh man. So it's been like a winding road. Um,
Mm.
and I'm just so grateful to like have landed here because this really does feel like my work in the
Yeah.
world.
Mm.
I'm a very body-based person, and when I say that, what I mean is that I feel a lot. Like I feel a lot of emotion, I feel a lot of sensation in my body. I always have. Very in tune. Like if I walk into a room, it's like I immediately feel what the vibe is.
Yeah.
If I'm interacting with people, like my body is going through a lot of stuff as I'm like
Yeah.
processing. And I used to think in a way that that was like a problem, like being that like highly sensitive.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I kind of had to like work harder in social situations or like just going out in public. Like I would have to kind of prepare myself. And once I started to realize that it was a gift. It's like such a gift. I learned to like wield it and started to, practice like nervous system tools and techniques and like body-based tools to just inhabit my body, to stay in my body, whether it's like during arguments or like traveling, can really kind of get me like in a tizzy. and like coming back to that like center inside of me. And, you know, I got really sick in high school. I'm thinking like I feel like that was kind of the start of like this journey starting to open up for me, or
Mm.
this path opening up. I got really sick with Lyme's disease and mono simultaneously, and I was bedridden for a month, and I
Mm.
was, you know, on the road to be a professional soccer player, and my body literally like started withering away, and you know, I couldn't keep up with my teammates, and I didn't know what was going on, and I was undiagnosed for about like a year and a half. And so I was just feeling shame, like, oh, there must be something wrong with me, or like,
Mm.
um, you know, I must not be into this anymore. It was like my mind and my body were in like two different places
Yeah.
that I was trying to come up with, you know, to have some kind of control over what was happening, like trying to describe to myself, oh, it must be me. I must not love this anymore. Like maybe
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't want this. But I really did want it. And yeah, I was diagnosed, got on a bunch of really intense medication, bedridden, which is a really weird, like black hole time in my life. I had really weird dreams. I was almost like disconnected from my body because it was just so like weak and sick and like heavily
Wow.
medicated, and it's a
Wow.
really weird time, and I never knew that that would like set the foundation for like my career and the rest of my life. Like, you know, it was such a void of an experience.
Mm.
But when I started to get better, you know, I was placed on a bunch of like medication for like ADHD and then like depression medication. I kind of went through this like Western medication psychotherapy ringer after that.
Mm.
And you know, I wish if I had someone at that time that said, you just went through a really big trauma, like you need to
Yeah.
process this. You
Yeah.
just had to give up your whole
Yeah.
identity as
Yeah.
like a soccer player in the
Mm.
blink of an eye. And
Yeah.
I wasn't, yeah, I didn't know about like processing trauma. I didn't like understand what that meant. And yeah, so it just wasn't like a part of my life, and I just kept moving forward. And there was like a deep sadness, and like, you know, I mean, literally, 'cause I lost my identity and didn't process it.
Yeah.
And it led me on this whole like health journey because I had like brain fog, you know, for like 7 years or so, like after you know, I
Wow.
took the course of
Yeah. That's
medication and
huge.
had that month. Yeah. Brain fog, chronic fatigue, depression, just really felt like, you know, now that I look back on it, I was like, that was like a shell of myself. Like, I thought that was just me, at that point. Like, I thought maybe, yeah, I was just like depressed for other reasons, you know, teenage reasons and whatever. And then I went on this like health journey, and I realized, you know, once I um, got my health right and the depression lifted, like now I understand that that really was not 100% me. Like on
Yeah.
the other side, I'm like, I have so much energy. I have like crazy amounts of energy. I have quite clarity of mind, you know, like in general.
Mhm.
And um, you know, it led me on this path to like heal a lot of trauma, and not just that, but like
Mm.
childhood trauma. And, you know, there were some things that happened in college, like after the fact. And I became a psychiatric nurse because I've always been like interested in mental health. And I also got a master's degree in Chinese medicine because I love like Eastern and Western. And so I wanted to like combine the two, and had a dream to go to medical school when I was young, but like didn't feel confident enough to do that. So I went this
Mm.
like kind of adjacent route with like these other
Oh,
degrees.
wow.
And when I was working as a nurse, I just like I felt like I wasn't using my gifts in like the ways that I wanted to. I was just, you know, following orders from a doctor, and it was like fun to like collaborate with like the medical team and the doctors and like come up with, you know, solutions for people. But you know, it's just kind of handing out medication. And my favorite part of being a nurse was being one to one with my patients, just like
Mhm.
sitting with them, and
Yeah.
just hearing their stories and like giving them little massages and like giving them care and just the way they would like light up to receive that kind of care, in like some of the worst days of their lives when it is like it can be very chaotic and
Yeah.
hectic. Like doctors are coming in and out and it's just kind of quick and it's like that
Mm.
human connection can be really lacking, especially for people who like don't have a lot of family or like aren't close to their family. So I started to like fill this space in the facilities I worked in to just bring like a lot of humanity and like really slow things down, which
Mm.
is like not the way they want you to necessarily do things because it can
Yeah.
be a fast-paced environment, but I
Yeah.
really tried to like be there. And yeah, it led me into coaching because I was like, I don't feel like I'm using my gifts. I kept feeling like I was being kind of pushed out. Like I would get nauseated when I would step into work often. Like I started to have experiences of like rifts, and through the body, of course, my body
Yeah.
speaks to me very loudly, and it started to just not feel aligned. And I couldn't necessarily logically explain it, but I started to look into like starting a side business, whether it was like an art or, something. And I
Yeah.
found health coaching. Health coaching is like my first way in because I was like, oh, I didn't even like know this was really a thing. And this is cool. I could work for
Yeah.
myself a couple hours a week. I could do part-time nursing, part-time this
Yeah.
and did a training. The second half of the training was life coaching, and I resonated so much more with that.
Mm.
I was like, oh, well, health is a part of life, and life encompasses everything. So I
Yeah.
didn't just want to
Yeah.
focus on health. And just with my own experience, like health, like body health, mental health is obviously a huge component of it. And it's like there's everything in life that feeds into your experience of health. And yeah, that just really resonated with me. And I went that route. And then I started to get into the somatics, because that really just felt, naturally resonant to me and like how to work with highly sensitive women and women who are people pleasers, like, I was and still am in part, but I'm like, I work through in my body. And yeah, it landed me here. It feels like I'm actually fully using my gifts, like whether it was from, being an artist, which I like loosely just mentioned, like I feel like I'm an artist of like body, mind, spirit, and like my medical training, of course, and
Yeah.
like whatever I learned there, and like the energy stuff, and just my natural like intuition and inclination to work with people in this like compassionate way.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah,
Mm. Yeah. So you've pulled all these strands from your life because you are incredibly curious and
yes,
you are also extremely diligent. So when you start on something, I'm not surprised you got a master's because you are so focused. You have so much focus. You are really, really like you get really into things, don't you? And you
oh,
leave no stone unturned. You go into all the little corners. So yeah, you are completely doing the work you're meant to be doing. It's totally perfect for you because you're like an investigator, aren't you? And you go very
yes.
curious, you're very interested, and yeah, you're so committed, so deeply committed. I've never known anyone be so diligent and committed and so like just laser focused on the job in hand. And it's like
Uh,
fascinating to watch.
wow.
Yeah.
I love that reflection so much because there's a part of me that's like, with social media, I'm like, "Ugh, I feel so unfocused, but it's really true.
Yeah.
Like, it's really true as you reflect that back to me. I'm like, I am a very intense person. Like, I'm like in a good way, and
Right.
sometimes
Yeah.
in like a not so good way necessarily, but like,
Yeah.
But it's true. I like hyper focus, and this has to do,
Yeah.
I think, with whatever my specific neurodivergence is, which I don't believe in
Yeah.
neurotypicality anyway, but it's just how my brain is set up where I really go deep into things. And
Yes,
like,
you
I mean,
do.
this is why like this work is so amazing for me
Yeah.
because like I really care. I think this is like, yeah, the basis of it is like I care about people suffering less. Like
Yeah.
I care so much about it, and it's
Mm.
so possible. Like it's not just possible, it's inevitable when you put the right like tools in place, and you have the right like outlook and orientation towards life and yourself, and you have the right relationship with your body, and you're able to communicate effectively with other people, and be honest, and like it's the hard vulnerable work, but like I'm obsessed with it. I feel like it's everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I can feel that in you. And I watch the way you unpack stuff every week and you're just so curious and interested to, it's not perfectionism, but it is real, like, yeah, total focus on going into everything and working it out. And I think that's such a strength because when you go all in something, you really do go all in. You're not slapdash. You do it properly. You do everything really, really brilliantly. So you're incredibly committed, which as someone who is a little bit slapdash, I really value that and really I really see that in you and think, oh, that is so good. I love that characteristic. I wish I had a little bit more of that. Because it's a real strong point, especially in this kind of work. And yeah, so I'm really curious to know what sort of things people come to you with and what a typical kind of unraveling might look like.
Yes. Okay. So, I mean, definitely my angle is towards women who feel a lot.
Hmm.
And, there's all sorts of pathologies we could slap on women who
Yeah,
feel a lot, but I am here as a non-pathologizing guide
yeah.
because I think it's so important and so crucial for the world and for us personally to like, I'll use that word again, like wield our sensitivities, to like,
Mm.
as women, to learn how to dissolve that like emotional labor that can go on in the background so much, and it's just so exhausting. So a lot of women who come to me like feel kind of tired, feel like they're walking
Yeah.
on eggshells in their relationship or
Mm.
relationships, feel like, their voice gets caught in their throat if they're like
Yeah.
giving a presentation at work, or they're even like in conflict with someone in their life. It's just like their voice
Mm.
gets like high and weak, and they can't access like the depth. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
Women who um, feel like maybe misunderstood, um, who
Mm.
are just kind of like, I want to say different, or like the black sheep, but it's not necessarily just about that. It's like, yeah, they just feel like they don't fully fit in like necessarily anywhere. Um,
Mm.
and just are deeply feeling highly sensitive. And it can be so hard, like I know this well, to like navigate the world from that angle of like not really feeling like you fit in anywhere into any like extreme groups necessarily, but then also like
Mm.
feeling everything. So it can just be, social anxiety can come through, just like a
Mm.
sense of unease or like worry in general. I'm not enough. Like, yeah, I'm not enough is like a huge thing I work
Yeah.
with my
Yeah.
clients. Like just, yeah. Um, and then like women who have, quite a strong or moderately strong inner critic, just the judge, like
Yeah.
just hard on themselves.
Mm.
Don't give themselves a break. And usually that has to do with childhood trauma and relationships they had as children and things they picked up. And so how I work with women, it's really multifaceted. You know, I call myself a somatic and trauma informed coach, but the somatic piece is only, it's only a part of it. There's a fractal nature of working with a human. Like, I think
Mm,
about how we can do top down or bottom up, which is like mind to body or body to mind.
mhm.
So I use a lot of inquiry processes, which is really just like simply asking really good, precise,
Yeah.
confronting questions. Um,
Mm,
there are certain beliefs we hold in the unconscious mind, and the unconscious mind is the body, which is why the body is like so crucial to access. But like
yeah.
we hold so many beliefs in the unconscious mind about not being enough and about, oh,
Yeah.
I should be further along or I should be this or
Yeah.
that.
Mm,
How I work with that is, you know, we want to really get clear on when you say you're not enough, what are you not enough for? It's kind of just like a, s- a feeling or a belief that hangs out in the background of your mind, like I'm not enough, and it just runs the show. It just dictates your
yeah.
decisions, and it's just hanging out there. And like without
Mhm.
investigating it, it will continue to
Yeah.
make decisions for you, like, oh, not going to that gathering because, like, what if people don't really like me and I feel anxious? Or, like, I actually am going to sit out, like, giving that presentation and just call
Yeah.
out sick. But it's all like, I'm not enough. Or, you know, I'm going to avoid, like, having that hard conversation with my partner because, like, I don't trust myself and I don't feel like enough or,
Mm,
you know, it comes through in so many different ways. So I like to
mm,
get really clear. Um, what are you not enough for? What does that mean to you? What's your experience of not being
yeah.
enough? And where's the shame of like, I'm
Mm,
bad, I'm broken, I'm wrong, I need to be fixed. Like that feels like such the core of my work. And then of course we hit it from a somatic angle too of like, what is it like for you to experience your pain? Like, what is that experience for you? I think that's a question that like we don't really get asked. It's,
mm,
you know, like what's it like to be you? What's it like to be with your pain? And
yeah.
then there's an unfolding that happens when people are just given the space, the kind of, you know, non-judgmental space to describe what their inner experience is like and then go through these processes of, you know, clearing these beliefs that are just running the show and like creating self-sabotage. And then also, like, a thing I love to use is called existential kink, which is a really magical practice developed by Carolyn Lovewell, formerly Carolyn Elliott. She has a book that I highly recommend. It's, you know, shadow work, it's
Yeah.
unconscious work. And shadow work is really like, it's just about the disowned parts of us. It's not like
Mhm.
all the things we think are like bad, but I think about how like shadow work can literally be like the shadow can be joy because
Mm,
sometimes we don't let ourselves feel joy. We
mm, yeah.
disown that part because we think it's not safe. So it's like all of these things that we have disowned that we think we can't feel, we can't fully accept in ourselves or as an experience. And so bringing those things to the surface. And existential kink is about taking those sensations in the body, whatever sensations are attached to whatever emotions you experience from those like core beliefs that you hold. And we start to really slowly work in the body with the sensations to bring, like, for example, if there's tension in your stomach because you feel inadequate, we start to really investigate, like, what is that tension like? What is there a texture to it? Again, like I mentioned before, like, is there a shape? Is there a size? Like, really fleshing out, personifying it, like parts
Yeah.
work style, and
Mm,
creating a whole character out of it where we can kind of bring it outside of the body and relate to it and speak to it like it's a person with its own set of values and beliefs and a whole lifespan and so much to express, but we just never give ourselves the opportunity because that's just how we are. Like we don't parse ourselves out like this, and I think it's super important to do it. I think it like creates this really amazing like organization inside of
Mm.
your mind and body. And like, I'm not even a huge fan of like organization. Like, I like messy stuff, but like, there's a very interesting thing that happens when you start to relate to yourself as different parts.
Yeah.
You get to communicate with them and regard them in such a different way. And you're not there to fix them, save them, change them. You're just there to hold the space so they can express what
Hmm.
they're experiencing and what their experience of life has been. And then in that, they process the pain that they're holding on to. And then we can work with them and collaborate with them. You know, do we want to let go of this pain? Do we want to keep it?
Yeah.
Is there any benefit to it? What parts of it do we want to keep? Where do we want to keep these parts in the body? Do we want to, give this part of you like a raise and like place it in your heart instead of your stomach? Like, do we want to give it a job? And it's really amazing. Like, that whole process is really, really amazing.
Mm. I love all of this so much. It's fascinating. Now, I love the way that you coach yourself, and you do it so brilliantly. And it's such a good example of how we have the power within us and
Yeah.
how we have the answers within us, and how we often, will defer to somebody else to give us the answers when in actual fact we have so much within us. And, you do it so brilliantly. Would you recommend, or what is your preferred way, your preferred line of inner inquiry? Is it verbal or do you write it down?
Ooh, yeah, good question. I do both. So I have like a hand injury, my right hand, so sometimes it's hard for me to like type, and that actually would be or write, I'm
Mm.
right-handed. Um, I love to write. That's like
Yeah.
I love to write with my hand. Like, that's my preferred
Yes.
way. But
Yeah.
I've sort of transitioned, and I'm super grateful for technology in this way to like have the ability to transcribe. So my
Yes.
other
Yeah.
favorite way is voice. Yeah. So
Hmm.
like writing with my hand or voice. Um, yeah, coaching myself, I mean, it's so funny because I I have this thought, like as you were talking, that like if I'm suffering, it's because I'm choosing to. Like, I have a very, very deep like feeling about this. I have all the tools,
Mm.
all the ability, all of the like deep empowerment to truly release myself from any form of suffering that I could ever experience. It's wild to have that tool,
Yes.
have that skill
Yeah.
set at this
Yeah.
point. But sometimes I choose to not use it. But then
Mm.
I really try to take responsibility for that and be like, I
Mm.
could, but I'm just not feeling it today. So then it gives me a different kind of relationship to pain and like my own
Yeah.
suffering when I have like the choice. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, coaching myself is, I mean, at this point, it's foundational. I mean,
Yeah.
every day in some way I coach myself. So
Yeah.
I usually go into, so it's either just like I do with my clients, it's the same exact processes. Like, I would never use any process with my clients that I don't already take myself through and I know works.
Yeah.
Um, but I do either, if I'm feeling like my brain is in the right state to do like inquiry, which is like taking a thought, and I'll journal about this, or I'll speak it out, transcribe it, and like find some thoughts that are like
Yeah.
causing the pain and distress. So
Yeah.
I'll pull out just one thought because it's just one at a time. Like, we don't want to get at everything. And
Yeah.
it's all a fractal anyway. One, like, whatever door we walk through, it leads us to everything else, to all of the other pain and to the memories. And so
Mm.
just one thought. And I ask myself, is it true? And sometimes I will just sit with that question for a long time.
Yeah.
I will just
Yeah.
scan the landscape of my life, and I will find for myself if it is actually true. And, yes or no is perfect. Like, I don't have any attachment to like it being true or not. It's just I'm finding the truth for myself. And then, I'll kind of ask myself, like, how do I respond? Like, what are all of my mind, body, spirit responses, reactions when I believe that this thought is true? And so then that becomes like partly somatic inquiry where I'm like, where do I feel it? Like, how
Mm.
does my whole, what lens am I viewing my whole life? What actions do I take? What actions do I not take? Where else does my mind go? What obsessions come up? Like, do I eat a bunch of chocolate in bed? Like, what do I do when I believe this thought? I just notice, like, as the
Yeah.
observer, just paying attention to, like, oh, that's so interesting. Like, there's this kind of the floodgates open when I believe this thought is true, and I
Mm.
have all of these behaviors that follow that make sense, related to the thought, why I would be doing all these things.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I'll kind of imagine I'm like peering behind the veil and I'll ask myself, who would I be? And this is the work of Byron Katie, if people are
Yeah.
familiar with that. With a somatic twist, I'll peel behind the veil and I'll ask myself, yeah, who am I without this thought? If and this is a really weird psychedelic part of it because sometimes it's easy to access and sometimes it's really hard because it's just so like I'm
Yeah.
so entrenched in it that I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't even know, like I can't even feel what that reality would feel like if I think about it visually. I'm very like visual thinkers. Like if I literally like pulled the words out of my body and put them somewhere, all of the hooks where that belief was like hooking into and all these various aspects based on my reaction to the belief, if I pulled all those hooks out, like what I'm left with, I mean, every time is like presence, love, gratitude, which
Yeah.
is who I
Got it.
really am without
Yeah.
like the stress, It's like
Yeah.
I'm curious, I'm calm, I'm clear, I'm grounded. And so I really I meditate on that too, like as that experience of if I were to dissolve this thought, and there's no pressure to dissolve the thought. Like I think that's important to know that like you really want to give yourself permission to keep the thought if you want to keep it. Like there's
Mm.
no pressure. And I think
Yeah.
our bodies and our minds are like, can be
Mm.
naturally rebellious when we think something's being taken away from us that has
Yeah.
actually helped us feel in some way safe because of the familiarity of like holding on to that belief.
Mm.
So when it gets taken, it can feel vulnerable. So like we want to just remind the body, like, you don't have to give up this thought. We're just exploring like what it would be beyond the thought. And yeah, I
Mm.
really sit with that and I mean, it's amazing. And for a while, for the first couple of years that I was doing that kind of like Byron Katie and somatic work combined, I would just fall asleep. Like it was so interesting. Like when I felt who I was beyond the stress, it's like I just needed rest.
Mm.
My body was just in such hyper anxious mode, like without being fully conscious of that. It's like the anxiety just kept me awake and alert and like doing things and scrambling and hustling that like
Yeah.
without it, I would just literally fall asleep. So I just gave myself a lot of permission to like take
Yeah.
naps when I was doing that coaching and just let my body rest. And at this point, what's interesting is when I do the work, um, I don't fall asleep as much. Like it's really interesting. I've kind of cleared out and it's become, just my life to like not hustle like that anymore. And our work together has really helped me transition into, because yeah, it wasn't long ago when I was still like hustling and those hooks were still like in my
Yeah.
system.
Yeah.
And there was just a point, and I think this is really important for like people listening, is that I can get really intense about trying to push myself forward,
Mm.
trying to get to where I'm trying to go. And like there's something so crucial about like patience. And I've been
Mm.
thinking about this a lot, like the kind of bringing patience and grief with you because grief is going to come if you're like a high achiever. And I tend to work with women who are not only highly sensitive, but they're high achievers. So like
Yeah.
they push themselves and they don't feel enough, so they're hustling.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like letting myself live with patience, so slowing down and working like at the pace of my body,
Yeah.
and the grief of not moving at a million miles an hour, like giving
Mm.
up that
Mm.
life
Yeah.
and really just trusting
Mhm.
that's so necessary to like
Mm.
feel present and like grounded and fulfilled. Like we just miss our lives, like we miss the moments when we're just like constantly trying to like push forward. And I
Mm.
really understand what that's like it's a survival response, but like who are you when you're not in like a survival response?
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
you're just here and it's okay to be here, even with uncomfortable sensations and, thoughts that might not be super ideal, but you're able to like see them and then kind of let them go.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So, what does your daily setup look like? Like, how do you set yourself up for success in terms of your personal growth, in terms of being able to hold your clients? Yeah, do you have a particular routine and rhythm? Yeah, share.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's so funny because I kind of like it's funny the identities I've created for myself because I don't actually think I'm an organized person. And it's so funny to hear your reflection back to me because I'm like, oh, I sound so like like I just have my shit together.
Yeah.
But I don't I don't feel that way, but it's not a bad thing. It's like I'm very creative. I'm very like intuitive and quite flowy in my
Hmm.
life. But I will say like, I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was like really young, or maybe yeah, like 15, 14. And I got on medication quite early, and then got sick and then was like on other medication and amphetamine. So I was on amphetamines for a while. And when I got off the medication, when I was like on that whole health journey and realizing like I was having a lot of side effects and I just didn't want to be on it anymore, um, I had to, or I just felt this strong impulse that I have to find the structure for myself because otherwise I'm just like in a dreamland. Like it's hard for me to ground sometimes. I feel like I have a lot of like upper chakra activity, like very like connected to
Yeah.
like spirit realms and intuition and the dream world. And I have like crazy dreams every night and like
Yeah.
have psychic things going on. So
Yeah.
I mean, which is one reason why like doing the somatic work is so good for me. It brings
Yeah.
me to balance and I
Yeah.
can actually wield my intuitive abilities in like the 3D. But getting off that medication, I just knew that I needed to create schedules for myself
Mhm.
because the kind of life and the kind of work I wanted to do, um, it's a necessity, like working with clients. Yeah. So I I stick to a pretty strict routine every day. Like, and the word strict, I don't love that word, but I hold myself to it. I sometimes like tantrum against it. I'm like, I don't want to do my things today, but like
Yeah.
but then I'm like, well, then I'm choosing to like, suffer and feel some stress. I can embrace that. But like what I do, I walk every day, pretty much every day. Sometimes I lay in bed all day, but that's like quite rare. I walk every day. I live in a beautiful forest, so it's like, yeah, I feel really grateful. Like so much fresh air, like clean air, nature, tree therapy, like just it's foundational to my life is like long walks. I've been taking like longer and longer walks too. Um, Listening to music as I'm walking or a podcast that feels like nourishing and just breathing, getting outside. Um, I I meditate, whether it's listening to a recording, like one of your hypnoses that I like love those so much. They're the perfect length and it's just so good. I listen to one of those every day, or I do some kind of like Buddhist meditation where it's like about breath, or I'm like listening to a track with like gongs or something. Um, Sometimes
Mm.
I do silent meditation, and that's always really interesting. But yeah, every day I have at least 15 minutes to just meditate, rest, like be offline, connect
Yeah.
back in.
Mm.
And I coach myself every day. So I do that like somatic inquiry type thing
Yeah.
every day. Like,
Mm.
I mean, there's a couple days here and there that I don't do it, and I give myself slack on the weekends to do whatever I want, but I want to do it. Like,
Yeah.
it keeps me so like clear.
Clear. Yeah.
It just keeps me clear. And when anxieties come up around like my business too, because business is such a psychedelic wormhole spiritual path that just mirrors everything back to you, like 100 times magnification, is like, there will be anxieties that come up around client stuff and relational stuff and like, am I good at this? Like imposter syndrome will come up, and I'll just coach myself and I'll reground and I'll find the truth for myself. And yeah, it just keeps me clear is like is the phrase. I also I create every day. And what that means to me is like my business is such a great place for me to create in because it's all
Yeah.
about writing. Like I was thinking about this. I'm like, I feel like I could call myself a professional writer in a way because I write, quote unquote marketing copy, tidbits, stories of my life and like lessons like every single day. I'm like writing
Yeah.
and I'm writing and I'm speaking and I'm transcribing and I'm so prolific. Like,
Yeah.
and I love it. It's like so therapeutic for me writing emails to my people, like every day I'm writing. Um, but yeah, creating, like, so whether it's writing or like creating a video, I tend to like to do like video stuff. Um, I think it's important to like show your face to the world. Like I was thinking
Mm.
about this the
Yeah.
other day, like I think it's important. Um, yeah, like everyone's face is like beautiful in its own way, and I think like showing up, it's like letting yourself be visible. It can be very vulnerable for people and very vulnerable for me too. Like I was
Yeah.
just coaching myself and like I'm not pretty enough to like show up, and when I saw myself beyond that thought, I'm like, "Oh wow, like it's such a success and tolerance thing." Like that thought is keeping me in familiarity and safety. I would just explode in my business in so many different ways, like beyond that thought. And so I'm like, oh, that's so interesting. So I've been like investigating that and noticing the effects of that already, like in letting myself be more visible. So yeah, I also dance. I like to dance. I like
Yeah.
to be in water, like
Yeah.
showering, is a huge one for me. Like, doing like a float tank. I've been doing like sensory deprivation float
Mm.
tanks lately, which is just so good. I like magnesium baths. I always get downloads from my spirit guides, like you need to be in water, like that. It
Yeah.
just feels really cleansing and like necessary. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've been taking a lot of baths and showers and yeah.
Mm. Beautiful. Mm. And yeah, just listening to you and thinking, oh, I need a float tank. I haven't been in one for years, and they are amazing, aren't they?
Amazing. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
something going on. Like
Yeah.
whether it's the I think it's magnesium salt that they use. Like
Yeah.
I mean it's such a extreme dose of meditation. Like
Mm.
I did one um on my birthday, and I felt like I had done like 4 years of meditation, like in that 1 hour. It was wild. I was like, wow, I need to do this more. So I've been like going more regularly now.
Mm. Yeah. Oh, I definitely want to do that. Amazing. Gosh, so much juice in here. And I feel like we've really dived right into how you work, how you operate, what you bring forward, what you help your clients with. Is there anything else that you want to add or express? And also, yeah, like where can everyone find you?
Whew, yes. So the last thing I want to say that just popped up in my head is I took a yoga class the other day that was like using those little balls, like
Mhm.
massage ball things. And the instructor was talking about like go into the pain. Like she was like find the pain like in your butt or in your back or wherever we were like doing the thing and find the spot that feels the most painful and then just like stay there and hang out there and breathe there and let your body like
Mhm.
soften there. And the woman I was taking the class with, there it was like me and another woman. And we had a really interesting connection. Like we had similar birthdays and like similar like astrological like stuff
Okay,
like
yeah.
a little bit. And the way we experienced pain was so different and it was so interesting to me. Like she was very like expressive, like as she was like finding the pain, she was like, ow, 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 ow. And I was so silent and stoic, and it surprised me. And this is not like, she's better, I'm better, or like a judgment call, but we all experience pain so differently.
Yeah.
And letting yourself be with your pain, like I really think it's so important to override the like anxious or fearful parts of you that say like you can't handle this
Yeah.
and to really mirror back to yourself what your true capacity is for
Mm.
pain by letting yourself be in the pain. And, especially with a practitioner, I think this is important to do, with someone so you can like get the guidance at least at first until you can implement these things on your own. But like, don't be afraid of your pain.
Mm.
And that's really something I need to hear from myself too, because I'm like scared
Yeah.
of things like pregnancy and like labor pain and like pain in general. Like I get preemptively scared. I'm like, "Oh no, what if I feel pain?" But when you meet the pain,
Mm.
you you will find a deeper layer of yourself in it. It's like we have to
Yeah.
go through to come out. And I don't know, the sentence I want to say, which is like a really paradoxical sentence, is it's like it's safe to be with your pain. Like it's safe to
Mm.
be in your pain.
Mm.
And yeah, that's like a sentiment I try to live by. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram,
Ah,
on Facebook. I have a podcast called Too Human with Nurse Nell that's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And you were a guest a couple weeks ago, which was
I
an amazing.
was, which
It's
was so
so,
lovely. Yeah.
so good.
Great.
So yeah, love my podcast. I'm at nurse_Nell on Instagram, NURSE_NELL. On Facebook, I'm Danelle Gal, DANELLEGAL for my last name. And yeah, I do one-on-one. I
Yeah.
only do one-on-one. I also do, yeah, so one-on-one coaching with women, 6 months. I also
Mhm.
host classes like pretty much every month that are, low cost and really amazing, if I do say so myself, because of
Yeah.
my hyper focus and hyper
Yeah.
fixation. When I choose a
Yeah.
topic, I go really deep, and yeah, it's really,
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, amazing. Your work is amazing, and I know the quality of your work by knowing you in depth. I know how you you study everything. You go all in on everything, and you never do half-assed, which is amazing. You are amazing. So, yeah, please do get in touch with Danelle and say hi. Tell her what you've enjoyed about this episode or this chat. And yeah, reach out to her. Her work is amazing. She is amazing. And yeah, thank you all so much for being here. Do drop any comments or questions as well below, and Danelle will answer anything, any curiosities that are coming up about this conversation. Then yeah, drop them in, and we'll come back, and Danelle will answer. So yeah, amazing. What a joyful conversation.
Thank you so much.
You. Thank you so much. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Danelle, for being here, being in my world, and sharing all of your magic, your insights, your knowledge. You're a woman who's doing it. You're living your truth. You're in your power. You're on a mission. You're living your purpose. Like, it's fantastic to see and to witness, and I know it will be really, really deeply inspiring for everyone who's watching this. So amazing, celebrating you, and thank you. Thank you so much. Lots of love.
Mwah. Bye.